Hi guys, and welcome to another installation video for starkswarehouse.com. In this video I'll be showing you tools that I use to make my foam Iron Man suit, and also the progress on cutting out the Pepakura printed files. Tracing them and copying them onto foam and cutting that out also. Let's get straight into it. One of the main things I use, and you might probably want yourself, see if you can grab one of these. This is a cutting mat, just so you don't damage any work surfaces at all. I just grabbed this one today. This is a bigger one. I normally use this one. It's a smaller one, but I'm using that now for the hot things, so the heat doesn't damage anything as well. A steel ruler. It comes in very handy for cutting straight lines, and if you want to bend anything at a straight angle at all. Next we come to knives. Knives that I use mostly are these disposable ones. You just get them from the pound or dollar store or wherever. They want blades that snap off. Just a sharp disposable blade. And also they use this one. Now this is an Exacto Blade. I'll come a little bit closer so you can see. An Exacto Blade is made for cutting angles and for foam. The blade slides out like so, and at that you can cut a straight edged line, or with this little tool that comes with it. If you click that on, like so, it actually gives you a 45-degree angle, so that when you rest it down, it actually cuts at a 45-degree angle. Don't worry, it's not close to my finger at all, even though it might look it. But yeah, I use that blade lots. One of the best knives I've got. So I would recommend buying one of those. I'm not sure the exact name on it, but if I do, I'll post it in the description below and on my website. Other things, wax crayons. It's a bit random, but I find wax crayons to be the best tool, if you like, for tracing the cardboard templates onto the actual foam. I've tried felt tip pen, but that stays in the foam, doesn't dry, it stays wet, so you end up with ink all over your hands. Pencil obviously doesn't go in the foam, you can't see it. This, with wax crayons, I've found is the best, because not only does it go onto the foam and stays on there for you to see very easily, it also pushes the edge of the card into the foam, and it leaves like a little line where the card's being pushed into the foam, so you can see it very, very clearly using this. Masking tape. I use a lot of masking tape. So you don't have to use a lot, but I like to use a lot of masking tape. For one, when I cut the template out, sticking it onto the foam, the stick patches around, as you'll be seeing soon. For two, when the foam's cut out, just patching it together for the time being until I have glued it. So I do get through quite a lot of masking tape. If we work our way around, I've just received this today. This is a hot knife, electrical hot knife. I thought I'd try it, see if it was any easier to cut through the foam, melt through the foam. And don't get me wrong, it does melt through the foam really easily once it's warm. But to be honest with you, it does exactly the same thing as this Exacto knife does. The only difference I can see really is this leaves cleaner cuts, because this actually melts the foam, so you can see the melted edge when you try to get it together. But I guess it could come in handy in some instances, but you don't necessarily need one. If I had seen reviews and things before this about cutting foam with them, I probably wouldn't have got one, but it's there if you need it. Next, hot glue gun. You can get these at any hardware store. Obviously, when you've cut the foam out, sticking the foam together, better than any kind of other glues really, it's the best glue to use for it. And of course, hot glue sticks. You're going to need plenty of these. I got the files here that I printed out. Hopefully you'll have yours printed out from the first tutorial video. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll post a link below and you can check that one out. But yeah, here are the printed files. They'll be getting cut out in a moment. I also like to have my computer on hand, basically to have the Pepakura program open while I'm doing it, so that I can see exactly where the template goes on the actual armor part. And finally, but not least, you're going to need this. This is the Plastisode foam that I've been using. It's 10mm thickness. You'll find all the links and things about where I got my things from on my website. As you can see, I've been using this already. This is a roll of 2 meters by 1 meter, and it's very, very good stuff. I think the 2 meter by 1 meter costs probably around £28, approximately. Off the top of my head, I can't really think. But yeah, that's about all the tools I use. So we'll get into it now, and we'll start cutting the templates out and tracing the templates onto the film. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my computer set up with the Pepakura Designer open, so I can see exactly what's happening. And as you can probably see, we are doing the Iron Man helmet, and these are the files printed out. It doesn't actually take that many files for foam, well, that many printouts for foam, should I say, because obviously you're only doing 1/2 of the mask, well, helmet for printing out. So there's only 6 pages of things. So I'm going to start off, first thing to do is cut every single thing out. I recommend one of these disposable blades for that. So, we'll get these cut out and then we'll move on. So there we go. Now I do have to warn you, cutting with the blade can get very tiring and strenuous on your fingers and hands. So what I usually tend to do is I usually tend to cut one piece at a time, trace it onto the foam, and then cut the foam piece out, and then do another piece, trace that, cut it out, another piece, trace that, cut it out, just to give your hand rest from all the pressure that's on the knife itself. But just for the sake of this tutorial, I've cut them all out at once, so I don't have to keep going backwards and forth when doing the actual cutting and sticking. Another warning, you're working with a blade. Very sharp object and very dangerous. So please do be careful when you are doing this. Right, so the next thing we actually want to do is trace it onto the foam. I've got the foam down here. Alright, I will move some of these sections out of the way. I'll start with page 1. As you can see, on some of them I've marked which page they came off of. That's page 1, that was on page 4. Just so if I get confused of which part it actually is, I can look on the Pepakura software and it'll kind of narrow it down as to which part it actually is, so I can see whereabouts it goes. So I'll move some of these out of the way for now. And pull the foam up onto the table. So I'll cut some of this excess off so it's not all over the place. There we go. Right, as I told you before, you get through a lot of masking tape with this. So now we're going to stick it down. Before I do that though, I'm just going to turn this foam around so it's easier to work with. Okay, I'll turn the foam the opposite way around on the table so it's easy to work with. Okay. You're going to find a position on your foam where you're not going to... You don't want to stick it in the middle of the foam because obviously you're going to have this gap around here that you're going to lose out on. And it's just going to, you're just going to waste a lot more foam. So what you're going to do is position your templates as close to the edge as you can get. Obviously you don't want to push them right up to the very edge because then you won't be able to cut around it and get a clean cut. So you want to leave a few millimeters on either side just so you can get a nice clean cut. You take your masking tape, I just take little chunks of it, no specific places around, most of the places like corners where they're going to be sticking up, places like these, they've got their own little flaps, so just take each of those down. Wherever you feel the need to put it, you can put it. So once this is all taped down, then we'll transfer the template onto the foam. Okay. As I said to you before, wax crayons, in my opinion, are the best thing to use to transfer it onto. Let's see if you can get in a little bit closer to this, so you can see a little bit there. Oops. Okay. You're going to take your wax crayon and just run around the edge, basically actually colour the edge of the cardboard. If you colour the edge of the card, like half on the card, half on the foam, not only does it transfer the edging in colour wise, because you're pushing onto the edge of the foam, of the edge of the card onto the foam, sorry, it will actually make a ridge. The edge of the foam, the edge of the card will cut into the foam a little bit, and it will leave you with a little ridge, which you'll be able to see very, very clearly, so you know where to cut. So when you come to the tape, just lift it up, keep your thumb there to keep it in position so it doesn't move, and just flick it back down. Again, peel up the tape, hold it down, and run the wax crayon over it. Do the same for every other part. And once you've done all the way around the template, we'll then be ready for cutting it out. Okay, so there we are, traced all the way around the template and ready for taking it off and cutting.